Well, hi everyone. Welcome to another installment of our Female Founder series. I'm really excited today to have our guest, Diane Turton, who Diane is the founder and president of Diane Turton Realtors. She's also a published author. Her book is called Always Connected, and I'm just super thrilled to be here. So thank you, Diane.
Thanks for having me. And if you want to know how I started, my father was in real estate, and I'm the oldest of 7 kids. So he used to drive me when I was 10 up to his office in Newark, and we'd leave about 8 in the morning and be home by 1. I'm like, what? This is like a great job. I could probably do this. So I would go back and forth. It's okay. You can cut that part, right?
Yes.
I'm just going to drop things off. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. So anyway, so I just thought this was great. So I went to college, went to Rider. I started majoring in math, and I thought I hated history. I hated English. So I switched to the school of business administration and majored in real estate. I was the only woman in my class back then. So I got a 4-year degree in real estate. I got my license when I was 19. And I had one other job in my whole life that I reported 9 to 5. And I thought, this is god awful. It's like, you're stuck in a desk. I'm not doing this. So I literally went out and tried to get a job in real estate. And they all said, well, you have to sit here and answer the phones. And back then, very few women were in it. It was all family owned business. I'm talking 1967, 67, right around then. So they wouldn't hire me. And they said, well, how are you going to make money if you won't come in and answer the phone? I said, I'll work the streets. Don't worry about it. So that's exactly what I did. I would go to diners. And then I went back to night school. I got a teacher's degree. And I substituted 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade only to be able to ask the kids whose parents were selling their houses. And they would bring me, phone numbers off signs. And again, I'm thinking, this is like really fabulous job because you're dealing with all different personalities. The customer is always right. I'm always wrong. And it's fun. It's not work. It's a game. And I just had this vision, and the house we had in Manalokan had Kelly green carpeting and blue furniture. And my dad was putting a sign up in Brielle, and there was a big billboard above the property. And I said, you know what? Someday I want my own real estate company. I want green and blue, and I want my picture on that billboard. And I said that, I think I was 17 years old when I said that. And that's how I got the company colors. That's how I got the green and blue. It was from the house we had when I was in high school. So I would just start talking to people. And I thought, now how am I going to get my name out there like Coca-Cola, soda, Turton Real Estate? How are people going to know who I am? So I started having garage sales, and I would put a for sale sign in my garage, and they would come and they'd say, is your house for sale? I go, no, is yours? And I would get another lead. And then I would never charge for any of the items. Let's say if it was a bike, they say, how much is that bike? Oh no, I'm not charging, but you have to hand out 100 of my business cards. And they would hand them out. And all of a sudden the business just started growing. And I'm thinking, now what can I do besides garage sales? So I thought back then you had a lot of home parties. Now you're going into the 70s. So what I decided to do, I thought, you know what? I'm going to have Mary Kay makeup in one room. I'm going to have candles in another, and I'm going to have Tupperware. But I'm not going to tell each of them that the other ones are coming. And then I invited 400 women that I did not know. If you knew me, you couldn't get in. I had a live belly dancer, food and liquor. You couldn't even find a parking spot. And the poor Tupperware lady, it was her first party. And she said, Mrs. Turton, I was told 8 to 10 people. I don't know if I can do this. I mean, you couldn't even move in my house with so many people. So she goes, can I have a martini? She had 2 martinis. She fell asleep, and I sold over $1,000 worth of Tupperware. So if you've ever had a Tupperware party, they then deliver it to your house, and you're responsible for getting it to the people that bought it. So this big truck pulls in and unloads all this Tupperware. So what do? I go and deliver it, but I purposely go to the wrong house. So I'll ring the doorbell and I said, oh, I have your Tupperware. And they go, I didn't order any Tupperware. I said, really? Oh, I said, I'm so sorry. It must be the house next door. I'm Diane Turton. Do you know anybody that wants to buy or sell a house? And I would get another lead like that. Yeah, and it was like almost like a game. And you could, every morning I'd get up and try to think of like another, like I would page myself at the airport. I would page myself at the beach, page myself in Atlantic City. I hate gambling. I've never gambled in my life. I only go there to work the people. And everybody I touch is a potential client. In fact, one time I was in United Club and they were paging me and I thought, this is weird. They said they had my information. So I thought, well, if I sit here long enough, maybe they'll page me again. Well, I was in there at least 40 minutes. They paged me 3 times. It was my baggage tie that came off. And when I came out, I got 2 sales from that because 2 people came up to me and they said, are you that realtor at the shore? We're looking to buy at the shore. Now, my husband, if he was with me, probably would have thought I was dead because I didn't come out. I figured I just sat there and wanted to page me. But silly little things that I would do to get clients. And then once I got them, I treated them like gold, like their family. And you have to get back to people. I can't stand it if I call somebody and they go, hold on, please. No, like I said, the customer is always right, I'm always wrong. And I just had this vision that if you treated everybody right, that they would give your name to somebody else. And that's what happened. All of a sudden I started getting calls, will you come to my house? I said, well, how'd you get my name? Well, a neighbor told me how good you were. And it just started snowballing to the point that I was approached. I don't know if you've ever heard of the speaker, he's since passed away, Zig Ziglar. He's written a lot of books. Well, he used to be on panels with Tommy Hopkins, and I was the one that introduced him. So they gave me the speech, and they bring me to wherever across the country they were, and I would be the one to come out and introduce them. And then because I introduced them, then they would come out and talk about me. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is like worth millions. And I'm all over the country doing this. How could I did the Jacob Javits Center and the Brendan Byrne Arena. There had to be 20,000 people. But, it was just those kind of things. And then Tom actually had said, I'm going to do Brendan Byrne Arena. Can you be there? I don't know if I can bring you up, but we have speakers, Larry King. Well, I was there like every hour there was another motivational speaker. And if you've ever been in the Brendan Byrne Arena, it's like you look like a pea when you're up on the top bleachers. So I go down, he told me what time to sneak down. And all of a sudden, I said, there, he's no way going to mention my name. And all of a sudden, he says, there's a woman in the audience from the Jersey Shore, and will Diane Turton stand up? I was doing autographs, and it didn't cost me a thing. It's those kind of things that I did over the last 54 years that got me to where I am today that anybody can do. It's silly stuff. I mean, we had no money. We were eating smelts for 15 cents a pound. We had nothing. And it was, it was just getting a client, maintaining a relationship with them, and giving back to different communities. I'm very involved with Cancer Society, Food Bank, kids that don't have homes. I'm very involved in all the charity events. And once you give back to the communities that give to you, the public likes that. And they like the hand-holding. They love it when I'll call and I'll go, I'm Diane Turton. I'll go, I thought you were dead, It's like, sometimes they think I'm like Betty Crocker, but I'm actively involved 24/7. I mean, I literally read my emails and in the middle of the night, at 3 a.m. when I get up. I go on and read it. But that's how I got started. And then 20 years I was an agent. And one day Zig said, why don't you open your own company? And I said, but I'm so good in sales. And they said, well, you go in the field and help the agents close the deals and pay people to run your company. So that's what I've done. So I just love rejection. And I love going out and meeting people. I just thrive on it. Now, there's not a lot of people. I mean, you either like sales or you don't like sales. I happen to like sales. I just love it. And there isn't anybody that couldn't do what I did, because I started from absolutely nothing. And it was just a game for me. It was fun. When I think of some of the things I did, I shake my head and go, I can't even believe I did
Wow. I mean, I love that. I don't even know where to start. I think you first said you were attracted to a 9 to 1 schedule, and you ended by saying you check your email at night because you love it so much. So I think, it sounds like you're surprised by your success.
I am, because I never thought, I mean, I started with one little office and I never thought in a million years. I mean, we had hundreds of people wanting to work for me the first day we were open. The very first day we were open, we had 103 upcalls, which is somebody they're calling to buy a house and sell a house in the first day. We couldn't even handle, I mean, the fire inspector came and all hid in the weeds in the back in Bayhead was the first office because the building didn't even hold all the customers and clients we had in there and all the agents. And then I did Point Pleasant, then I did Secret, and then I did Spring Lake. And then we waited about 7-8 years and we started opening up. So we have 16 right now. But it's all about, my whole business is repeat business. It's who you know and how you treat people, and you show you care about them, and you get back to them. And it's not a hard sell. You know, you have to be nice to people. And I know where I'm
Link
out.
established.
There's nothing
Mic
worse.
off.
Like if I'm in a food store and line 1, the lady's always happy and smiling, and the bitch is in line 4. Who are you going to go to when you go back? It's just, you know, people like to surround themselves with happy people. And you can have the worst day of your life, but it doesn't matter. You can't let that reflect on you always have to be out. Always. That's just, I know you do. You know, I love to be around people that are exciting and happy. And then there's, you know, the negative, I call them the negative Nancy's, that no matter what you do, it's just, it's born in you, I guess. I don't know. You know, you're not going to change. And there's people getting real estate. It's probably the biggest turnover business there is. People get in, they all think they can do it, and then they get totally frustrated, and it's constant. But this 90% of the money is made by 10% of the people because of the ones survive.
Yeah. Well, and I'm curious, based on that last comment you made, you know, do you know who's going to make it right away when you meet them? Are there things you look for?
Like when I'm interviewing people, I can pick right up on who's going to make it, who's not. And it doesn't mean, you know, you don't have to be real outgoing. I have a lot of agents that are very low key and very quiet, but they're very, one of the most important skills you have to have is organizational skills. My spices are alphabetical. I've always been extremely organized, and time management is crucial to any sales business because these people would get up and go in the office and coffee clutch and, oh, it's raining out. I would never go in the office, never. I was out all day. In fact, now about 12 years ago, I got a driver, and all I do is go to the different houses all day and meet people and talk to people. I don't care if I'm in a vegetable stand. I don't know my name badge on today, but I said I wear it in the shower. And just go out and just talk to people all the time. Now, did you hear about my sign that went over to France? Because at 3 in the morning, you gotta read my book. 3 in the morning, I got up, and there was a message from somebody from Bordeaux, France, that my sign had washed up on the beach after Sandy 6.5 years later. I thought he was kidding. So I flipped it to Perry. We asked him for a picture, and he drove back to Belgium, where he lived, and he, you know, looked me up, and sure enough, my husband and I and Perry flew back out there and brought the sign back. And it took the same route Christopher Columbus took. It took 3.5 years, 3.5 times around. It took 6 years. And he just was walking this little beach and happened to pick it up and Googled me. Now, what the heck are the chances of that? So that's why the book has the picture of the sign on it in the sand, and it's called Always Connecting. And it tells, if you just Google when you're finished with the interview and Google Diane Turton sign in France and read the New York Times, we were in CNN, New York Times, People Magazine, TMC, all this. I mean, we were interviewed. It was like $1 million in free PR. And people thought, oh, she threw that in the water. No, I mean, that sign went from Brielle, New Jersey, went through the Manasquan Inlet and in the ocean 3 times around and out to France. Bizarre. But those kind of things that happen, that just increases your visibility and your branding and your marketing, that people know who you are. Because I'll go in and I'll carry a book with me if I'm in a restaurant, and they'll go, oh my God, I read about that. I knew all about that. Well, I'm Diane Turton, you know, and you just start talking to people. And then it's not the initial that they have to buy a house that day. It could be 2 years later that they remember they met you and they called you. That's what it's all about, future business and repeat. So it's fun.
That's amazing. I love that you flew out there too to get the sign and came back.
Flew out there. They had every news station there. They had the photographers. It was so much PR out there. They were taking our pictures. I mean, because it was a big thing, and it was found on this little surfers beach in the middle of nowhere, 2 hours outside of Bordeaux. So we actually went to the actual beach, Pinsec Beach, Pinsec, and put it. But go online and read it. It's really an interesting story to read about.
I definitely will. I'm curious, Diane, because you know you're a trailblazer in so many ways, and obviously the industry is very different today than it was, 50 years ago. Do you feel like if you were starting out today, you would do things differently with the internet and with, it's so much harder to get people's attention, I feel like. Not that it was easy then. And I'm curious, I mean, or would you do things the same?
I think it's all about personal touches. People like to know that you care about them. If I'm on, I mean, sure, look, I've sold houses on the internet. Right now, the market's so crazy, they're buying the houses without even seeing it. But it's all about meeting, like my closings. I used to go to all my closings because I had connections with the secretaries of the attorneys, and then they'd recommend me to other people. That has never changed. That will never change. You can go online and search your schools and search information and where you want to be. But buying a home is a very, very personal experience. And I've sold a few without them seeing them. But now, today, they want to deal with people that get back to them, that care about them, that represent them, and that will do a good job. Because really, if you go out and hang up with me and go find somebody, go into 7-Eleven and say, who's your lawyer? Who's your doctor? They can answer. Ask them who the realtor is. They look at you like they don't know. And if you ask them who they bought their house from, I don't remember, because the average person in the real estate industry never keeps in contact with the client. And we have a 99% repeat business turnover because we do a good job. We have about 350 agents, 16 offices. And, each office has its own personality. 11 of them you can walk to the beach. So we're in right now that Jersey Shore where everybody wants out of Manhattan. We all want to come. The Connecticut, Long Island, the Jersey Shore, they're coming down. There's no inventory. There's very little inventory. But it's just, I will always honor the consumer first. And that's what it's all about. Because if I go into a place, I remember going into a store and the woman was on the phone. And I'm thinking, are you going to get off the phone? Are you going to ask me what I want? Like, how rude. Like, I don't get it. And then you go in another store, like, definitely Costco is very into consumer. Neiman Marcus is into consumer. Nordstrom's. Like, when I used to compare Allard and Nordstrom's, that's like night and day. They shake your hand, they greet you, they take your stuff to the car. It's an experience. That's the word I want to use. And buying a house should be a really good experience. Because if it is, they'll give your name to other people.
Well, and it's interesting because obviously this is the Female Founder Series, and you are an incredibly successful woman. And, when we look at the data right now, out of the RealTrends top 500 brokerages, only a quarter of them are run by women, which, that's up from the last few years. So we are making progress, and there's still a huge gap. So I'm curious sort of how do you think your leadership style and the way you work has been benefited by the fact that you're a woman? What do you think, what do you attribute that to?
I think women care more and they keep in touch more with their clients. And I help my agents 24/7. Like if I have an agent that's having a hard time closing in, then I get on the phone with the buyer. I say, give me the buyer's information, the seller's information, and then I'll let you know when the deal, and then I make the whole transaction. And then they get the money. I don't take them for it. I think it's just fun for me to close the transaction. But I think women just by nature have a more nurturing personality side to them, and they keep more in contact with the people. And remember, a lot of these people buying the houses, the wife is the decision maker. You know, the husband sometimes puts the money, but the wife is the one with the kids that really are the decision maker as to if they should buy the house or not. So, you know, I just think people, I mean, my company's been in existence almost, I'm losing track, I opened in 85, so what's it, 35 years ago? And our stats are phenomenal. I drive the big guys nuts, but I don't want to be a franchise. Why would I do this at my age now and change the image that I've created? It doesn't make any sense, because to me, that's all one kind of brand. It's all like corporate brand. I'm not a corporate brand, and I'm a hands-on broker, and that's it. You don't see that much anymore. You just don't.
Can you talk a little more about what being a hands-on broker means, not just for the customer, but also for your agents? What do your agents get from working with you and learning alongside you?
Well, I do like the office meetings. I did 3 yesterday. I did a couple today. I'm in the field with them if they're going on a listing and they're against a couple brokers. I say, don't tell the owner, I'll just show up and, you know, I'll go. And they like that. The people like that. And the agents like that because you learn from your experience. Because listing a house is completely different than selling. Selling, you put your buyers in the car, the kids are there, we get things hunky-dory. But with listing, it's almost like being an attorney trying to win a trial case. Like you have to convince 2 people to go with your company, and you never talk bad about anybody else. Never. I don't care if they've had a terrible experience with a previous broker. I will never agree. I think that's the biggest mistake you can make, because then you hurt everybody in the industry. But I'm just, like I said about the driver, and I'll go around, like I'll go to the Spring Lake office, I'll go to the Lacey office, then I go in, does anybody need any help? You know, in that way, that's how I'm hands-on. I mean, I'll go on any appointment with anybody. I love it, which is good.
That's awesome. Yes, you can clearly tell that you are incredibly passionate about your work. And it leads me to the question, I guess, what's next? What mountain have you not conquered?
Wrote my book. That was a big one because they've been asking me for 25 years to write a book. And the timing just wasn't right. And when somebody in New York found out about that sign, they called me and they said, now's the time to write the book on the journey of the sign as a metaphor to the journey of your life. So that's how the book was written. It's not a book about how to sell real estate. I mean, it's pretty funny. It should be under comments. But it's, you know, how you can start with nothing and end up with something. And I loved it going to the schools when they have career day. In fact, one day they put me in with, you know, for the real estate, and the veterinarian had an emergency surgery on a dog. So they said, would you go into the kids that want to be vets? Well, the time I was done, nobody wanted to be a veterinarian. They all wanted to be a realtor. That's pretty funny. And, you know, because these kids, they aspire to you. Like they think, how can I do that? What do I need to do? And I think if I give everything back, it's in, you know, telling kids today that you don't have to. I mean, when you look at it, I mean, look at Madonna, look at all these people that started with nothing. They didn't finish high school. And look where they are today. Because they had a goal, they had a vision, and they went after it. But you've got to have that mentality.
Well, speaking of goals too, I mean, you seem incredibly driven and intuitive, and just, you know, from coming up with your original ideas, creative ways to get your name out there and paging yourself, and, you know, all the great ideas that you had. And clearly you're also somebody whose success was important, you know, and I think that would resonate to a lot of people watching this. They want to succeed. And so I'm curious, what goals did you set for yourself? And did you have any numbers? Like, did you want to get to a certain amount of sales or a certain amount of market share? Or did you track anything? Or was it really just all starting with that customer? And if I do the best job there, all the numbers will follow.
My books from 1975 where I saved, I didn't track it from 66 to 75 and 75 to today. I can pull out right behind me here address because I use these ledgers and that I followed up with all the time. But yeah, I had goals. In fact, where I first worked before I opened my own company, they gave out prizes. They had a listing team and a selling team, and I was on the listing team. And they gave out prizes. Well, I won so many prizes that they took away the prize. So then I used to create a hangman for myself. So when I got a deal, I put an arm on, I put a leg on, and I had a list of everything that I wanted, I needed. And my first thing that I wanted was carpeting, because I had plywood and my two boys kept getting splinters in their feet because I didn't have money to buy them shoes. And really, I used to feed my husband smelts, 15 cents a pound. We used to take the chuck roast, I couldn't afford, round roast, and put the onion soup with the mushroom soup. And our food budget was $15 a week. And he worked double time and worked for the phone company. So when I opened, he had been there 21 years. I said, "You got to quit." I said, I can't believe how this business is taking off. So he took an early retirement. So he worked with me. And my sons are involved in the business. But no, I'm a big numbers person. So my goal, the average person probably lists 10 to 15 houses a year. My goal was always 20 a month. My record was 18 in 1 week. And I would just, they would just call me, "Diane, can you come over?" And then I'd be there. One time she said, "Well, the neighbor behind me wants to sell too." So from the house, I told her, I think I got home at 1 in the morning. I listed that one too. And, I'm a huge goal person, definitely. That I know what I want to go after. And once I achieve that, then you go to the next goal. And the goal does not have to be money. I mean, I lost 100 pounds, and that was a good goal. I just got up and I said, "That's it." I still want to lose another 20. But I lost 100 pounds, and I just made up my mind. And I just did it. But you have to want to do it. You have to be driven to do it. And you have to set goals. So many people in life, they bitch about everything. My God, you're alive. I mean, especially when you see the virus. And, look at what we've been through. Sandy, the trade centers coming down, now the virus. It's crazy. So you have to live every day like today.
Yeah, practice gratitude for sure. I'm curious too. I mean, a lot of the really successful agents that I talk to say that they wish they had known sooner the value of partners and hiring a really good team and a support system. And that, they didn't have money early on to pay for that. So there's always that problem. And they could have sold more and also done more with their life had they had that team sooner. So I'm curious at what point you realized you needed, a team, you needed people like Perry to help you with your marketing and be with you, and the value that partners have played in your career.
It just grew so fast. I mean, when I was an agent, we didn't have fax machines, we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have anything. I used to meet people on the parkway and pass the contracts to the windows and sign. But now we have teams within our company that we have lead teams. But the team, as far as my CFO, Chief Financial Officer, and my marketing, and I have an IT department, I have a relocation department, I have luxury property division. And they opened over the years as we grew, because I would get these speaking engagements all the time to go speak, and then I'd get more business. Then they asked me to do another thing. And then about 2 years ago, I said to Perry, "Perry, I got an idea." He says, "Oh no, what?" I said, "Let's have a talent show, and let's have all the proceeds benefit 2 kids, one in Monmouth County and one in Ocean County, 2 charities," which we did. And all the talent has to be between 8 and 18. So we totally sold it out. We got the Algonquin Theater to donate the theater that holds 500. These kids were phenomenal. And then we did it again last year. Now we had to cancel this year because of the virus. The theaters aren't open right now. But it's just those things come to me, and then I just go with it. And then we do the Halloween parades. We do all kinds of sponsoring of softball teams. And in fact, I sponsored a team that my grandson was on, and I went there, and these kids had Diane Turton on their shirt. I said, "Who's that on your shirt?" And they said, "Oh, that's that Diane Turton." I said, "Well, I'm Diane Turton." They go, "No, you're not Diane Turton." They were like, what? I mean, these kids are like 7. It was just so funny. And they're going, Mommy, Diane Turton over there. The woman who's on the shirt. But it's those kind of things. Now, what did it take me? An hour out of my life to go over there and meet some kids on the softball team? But it's those little things. Now, one of those parents, I'm sure, will know somebody that remembered that I sponsored the team and give my name to somebody. It's not that I have a definite, but it's all for the future. And those kids, like, to see the kids so excited, it's so rewarding. Like, it's almost comical. I went in a motor vehicle a couple weeks ago to have a new license plate because it's Turton. And the guy goes, "Are you Diane?" I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Oh my God, do you have a card? Can you autograph it? My daughter talks about you all the time." Like that, like, how do you even get to that point? I just shake my head. My husband goes, and you read it right up, because my husband's very shy. But it's crazy. That's all I can tell you. It's insane. But it's fun. Again, it's a game. You play the game.
It's a game and a lot of really, really hard work, it sounds like.
But it's 24/7. I mean, I get up at 6, I start in the morning, and I don't go to bed till probably 11. And I have the phone with me. I get up twice during the night, do my emails, do my messages, go on the news and see what's going on. Answer one, but I haven't, because I didn't realize that when you answer someone's when they beep and I wake people up. So I don't do that anymore. I wait until like 6 o'clock and I send it. But you know, you never know who you're going to meet, when you're going to meet them, who's going to come in your life. Every day is different. And that's what I like about real estate. I do not want a monotonous job. You had to work doing the same thing every day. I just didn't want that kind of thing. I wanted to be out. But it's funny, when I was young, when I was in 2nd grade, my mother wrote a note to the teacher, "Please let Diane read her book report sitting down," because I thought I would faint. I was so nervous being in front of people that I literally had to sit down when I read my book report in 2nd grade. And now I could go in front of 50,000 people in the book. So I don't know what changed there. Something good.
Confidence. You've done it before. Well, this has just been wonderful, Diane, getting to know a little bit more about your story. Clearly, I need to read your book, and everyone watching this needs to read Diane's book. Again, this is the Female Founder Series. We're here with Diane Turton, world famous now, well known in France and everywhere. And Diane, I'm curious if you can share just one last thing with everyone. You know, what advice would you give to your younger self today, or maybe anyone watching this who wants to become the next Diane Turton?
Just follow your dreams and don't take no for an answer. If somebody says you can't do it, you do it anyway. I mean, 3 offices would not hire me because I wouldn't answer their phone. And I just kept going until I found somebody that would. And I said, and then when I opened after being an agent for 20 years, "Oh, she'll never succeed. Oh, she'll never succeed." You know, there are always going to be people putting you down. That's human nature. That's what sells. That's what the media does. Don't even get me going on the media. That's what, that drives me crazy, because everybody, you can have nothing. And if you have a passion and you love what you do, you can be somebody. But you've got to love what you do. You can't have a job that you hate it. It's not going to work. You have to have a passion. And then it's unlimited. It's really unlimited. But I love to talk to the young people today, like the high schoolers that doubt they can do something, and their parents tell them they'll never be anybody, and they're lousy. And that's horrible.
Well, I hope that they see this video, because clearly if you have passion, you can do anything. You can be the next Diane Turton. Thank you so much for being part of our Female Founders series, and goodbye to everyone out there. Stay tuned for our next episode.
Thank you so much for having me.